Yep. Rock and roll.
2 more minutes. Start early. Let's do the roll call, please.
Yeah, here.
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 Here. I stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Start with the consent agenda. Has everybody had an opportunity to take a look at the consent agenda? Is there any additions or deletions anyone would like to make?
Yeah, I think we do have to add some things.
I got 2 I can add if you want me to start. I'd like to add item 7Q, the acceptance of resignation letter from trustee Mike Tremblay. And then item 7R would be appointment to fill the unexpired term vacated by trustee Mike Tremblay on the board.
We do have 45 days from the time he...
And we can do it 30 days prior to his resignation. According to, we all got Bob Siebert's email?
Yeah.
I think we have to add 7S on the dialogue you and I had earlier, which is that you have to add a PC appointment from the board to take my spot on the PC.
You'll be here for the next meeting, won't
Yeah, but following that, after June.
So, yeah,
you?
we'll
But
add,
we could do it, well, at the
7
next
hours.
meeting. We could do that at the
You,
next meeting.
you could do that at the June meeting too. Or you could.
I just think a lot of this stuff, people don't know anything about it. If they're interested in applying, it'd be nice to give them a little heads up, a little time.
you know, we already have qualified applicant. Mr. Blaylock still said that he would take that position, but the unfortunate thing is it's got to be a board member. Currently, with our bylaws, per the state of Michigan, it may or may not be a board member, but according to the Bruce Township's bylaws and the planning commission, it's required that it's got to be a board member. So we have to have the bylaws amended. So currently we need to have a board member to sit on the position, the PC.
Right.
I think you got the bylaws are in here, right? If I'm not mistaken, on the right
I brought the bylaws with me.
Item 7K is the planning commission bylaws, which it should be highlighted in there.
Mike, can I ask you a question? So according to what came from Siebert, it says that it's not required to replace Mike on either the planning commission or the zoning board. Is it because it's in our specific bylaws that we are going to do that right now? Okay.
It's not that he's not saying that we don't have to replace him from this point going forward. It's just a matter, we don't have to replace him tonight, but then again, it's up to 30 days prior to Mike's resignation letter, the date and time, or up to 45 days afterwards.
Okay.
Or the bylaws need to be amended.
Yeah, so is it-
If we appoint someone to your position that's capable of doing both, well,
Yeah.
and then maybe you can, I don't know if it can be added possibly to your agenda for your June 5th meeting, possibly to get the bylaws amended, or was it something that's going to take a month?
We could.
So we can maybe get it done sooner than later, but.
so we're adding Q and R?
QR and S. PC appointment is S.
A board member has been a part of the PC for years.
I thought it was part of our policy.
Well, it's part of the,
So we have to appoint them as part of the list of appointees. So this feels vague, it feels hurried to me.
not much is going to change in the PC appointment if it's a board member.
Oops.
You got information, Mike?
No.
Does anybody want to make a motion to go ahead and approve the consent agenda as amended?
Hang on.
Is there anything else?
I'll second that motion. Did you make a motion?
I make the motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
Support by Tremblay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No,
Here, no?
no.
One nay. Our motion passes. Now let's move on to, let's go to item number 4, which is comments from the floor. This is the time if anybody from the audience would wish to stand at the podium and comment. We would prefer that you keep your comments to a maximum of 3 minutes. Please state your name and address. Everybody? Thank everybody.
Hi, my name is Randy Lavasser, 1868 Royal Birkdale Drive, Oxford, Michigan. I'm here because I'm a candidate for state representative to represent Bruce Township, as well as 5 other townships, Washington Township, and then 4 townships in Oakland County. Just a little bit about me. I'm a real estate attorney, been an attorney since 1988, if that ages me. Self-employed for the last 25 years, and in addition to being a real estate attorney, I'm also a small business owner. Started a small company during the Great Recession to help people reduce their property taxes, and very proud that we were able to help the owners of thousands of homes obtain property tax relief. If the voters choose me to be their state representative, I'm looking forward to seeing you on a regular basis, letting you know what's going on in Lansing, but more importantly, finding out what your concerns are and what the concerns of people in the community are, so that I can best represent you in Lansing. I always want to have an open door, a phone that's always ready to be picked up and answer a phone call. Look forward to working with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Randy. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Dorothy Sakowitz, 71137 Oak Tree Lane. I just wanted to make a comment to Mike Tremblay to say that I'm sorry to hear that he's going to be leaving the board and the Planning Commission. You've done a great job all these years, and it's going to be a big hole. And, you know, I'm sure everybody appreciates all the work that you've done for the township.
Thank you, Dorothy.
Secondly, I just wanted to say I would hope that the board would be fair and impartial when they're doing the filling your position, because we do have an election coming up, and that seat's going to be open, and let the voters decide who should sit in that seat. That's the only comment I have. Thank you.
Thanks, Dorothy.
Paul Wilkiniewski, Bruce Township, 71970 last year. I'm just wondering when the board is going to start holding the owner of Fiddler's Cove accountable. It's like a third world dump. Half the shingles are off the roof. Have you guys ever been in the restrooms in Sheena's? He can't get them to fix anything, you know, and the guy just won't respond and get anything done. You don't see anything like that in Rochester or Frankenmuth. That's because they uphold their ordinances and hold their landowners accountable. I don't know why we're letting this guy slip like this, but it's really, that should be the jewel of our community. And I appreciate it being cleaned up from the dumping containers that were there, but the buildings itself, paint's peeling, shingles all over the place. Somebody's going to get hit with a shingle falling off there one day. And it's just a travesty that we're not doing something about it. Congratulations, Mike, and moving forward, and, you know, best regards for whatever your future plans are.
Thank you.
Good job.
So I can respond a little bit to Paul. Comments regarding Fiddler's Cove. So they did do hot patch in the parking lot. Obviously, the parking lot was in really bad shape, so that was just recently done. In regards to the bathrooms in Sheena's, I did have the building inspector to go out there, and he did do an inspection of the bathroom. There was a new urinal that was put in. There's a small hole in the wall. The way it was made, to me, I was told that there's this huge hole in the wall, and it's a terrible eyesore. Unfortunately, because of the agreement that Sheena's does have with the with the owner of the property, Sheen is responsible for maintaining any of the fixtures and interior of the building. So they're the ones that are going to have to fix that hole in the wall and any upgrades to the bathroom. So they are going to look at doing that in the near future, and they do have somebody, one of their maintenance guys, going to take care of it. So it's not the responsibility of the owner of the property. Well, the exterior, now they do have contracts. They are taking in bids to try to get the roof repaired, and that is something that they're working on. They did do a repair over the top of one of the new facilities, which is the tobacco shop. It did rain a few times. They did make the tobacco shop owner sign a agreement or a letter stating that he was satisfied with the repairs that were done, and there's no longer water coming into the side of his building. So there's work that's being done, but it's just...
I'm really surprised the dollar shop moved in here. Now we're losing secretaries.
It's not our fault. I mean, nothing we can really do about it. I mean, does everybody, are we all, frequent these stores? Is it a matter of business, or is it, is it the way the building looks? Is it you're considering the fact that they're moving out because of that reason? I mean, it sure has something maybe to do with it, but I mean, again, is it a lack of maybe business or retail?
We've tried, but we've tried, and they're very stubborn. They bragged that they sunk $100,000 in there. All right, okay, so that's what we're up against. Now, I think we've made some good progress. Could more be made? Yeah, but like Mike said, he's got the building inspector on it. We've tried, he's also sent the dangerous hazardous inspector in there as well to try to get some resolution.
Start finding.
But he's, yeah.
Okay. Anybody else?
Good evening. My name is David Vinson, 74580 Caney Road. I wanted to come tonight and introduce myself to the board as a candidate for the position of trustee. I had learned that after Lisa had left that the position was going to be open, and decided at that time that I was interested in running for the position. I've been in Bruce Township for 37 years, always pretty active in the community, either in the school board or school activities when our kids were here, and currently serving on the Board of Review. My career work has always been in public service. Started as a registered nurse, 30 years as a firefighter, followed that up with work as a Homeland Security planner, and then finally doing emergency preparedness for the medical community leading up to COVID. My wife Carol and I we love the community. We attend church here, shop at the local businesses. Our grandkids are in school, the Romeo Community School, so the community is dear to us. I don't come with any agenda. Have always been very satisfied with the way the board operates the township business-wise. Going all the way back to the Gary Shooky days is when I probably first became knowledgeable about the township. So I'm happy to talk to anyone that might have any questions about me or my qualifications or my interest, and that's all I have. Thank you.
Any relation to Jared?
Yes, it's my son.
Good job.
Thanks.
Is there anybody else for public comment? Okay. Close the public comment. Let's move on to item 6A of unfinished business, Sage Solutions. Frank, do you want to take that?
Yeah, the board recently approved $10,000 in the budget for a on-site HR person as needed. Sage Solutions was presented to us by our previous trustee, Lisa Caffey. Sage Solution is a group that provides human resources to help businesses manage or grow their HR department more efficiently. They provide a customized action plan that may include any of the following HR functions: union management issues, human resource management, training and onboard process planning, safety compliance and legal compliance solutions, and employee relations. They offer a cost-effective HR support to ensure businesses stay compliant with employment practices, laws, and regulations. in order to avoid costly lawsuits, grievances, and fines. Sage Solutions Group can remotely handle everything HR-related or provide the tools and support to help the HR staff or clerk with the responsibilities of any HR function or HR tasks. So I would like to see them come in pretty quickly. We do have some issues, some lingering issues going on.
At our last meeting, we talked about bringing in the Michigan Municipal League.
We talked about that 2 meetings ago, and we still haven't seen them yet. So
I
we have
brought
some
up last
issues that have
meeting.
been going on, and they need to be handled right away before, these issues have been lingering around for about the last year, and they're only getting worse.
Well, I contacted this guy because at our last meeting, everybody agreed that would be a good idea. So now what, we're going to do two different things? Can we just see this one through?
What did the guy say?
He was on vacation the last 2 weeks, so he's coming in next week.
What would he do?
He's part of the Michigan Municipal League, and they have senior advisors that go, 4 of them, that go around the state and help municipalities. And he would come in and assess, find out what our needs are, and assess the situation. I'm not saying that this is a bad idea, but you guys had me go ahead and do this.
Is there a
Go
charge
ahead.
for his service?
No, it is free. And we did pay $6,000 to Frank's friend for the last,
Right, and nothing's been taken serious with it.
so,
Things did get better in the fire department, and now all that poison has spilled over into the township here. And again, there's some issues still in the fire department that need to take care of. I believe us as elected officials should not be involved in any disciplinary action or things of that nature. It needs to be handled by an HR person who is not biased and handles things according to the book.
that's why we were talking about this.
Well, he's not here, and we need to do something. Like I said, these issues have been lingering for a year.
Can we give this guy until next?
I really don't see a point. I think we need to hire somebody ASAP.
We have anything from the MML at all? From them? Are they HR, they specifically
Yeah.
do HR work?
Yes.
We have nothing from him? Did you send anything across
What do you mean?
the past couple months, like any kind of
Well, it was just last month. I mentioned it 2 months ago in communication, and last month, everybody gave me the okay to contact him, which I did. And he was overseas for 2 weeks, so now he's back, and I'm meeting with him next week.
I have to agree with Frank that something needs to be done sooner than later, but I mean, at the same time, I mean, these guys are free as compared.
The HR person that came in here, again, they did their assessment. They gave us all he gave us all his opinions on what should have been done. Again, the fire department has been straightened out. That was the main reason that we brought him in here, was the fire department. We just brought it over into this side, so that way to see what everybody else's issues were here. And again, a lot of the things that he implemented or told us we should implement were never implemented. One of them is communication. Communication is horrible around here.
So the contract that Sage Solutions has, is this as needed basis? I
Yes,
mean,
that's an as-needed basis. It's broken down by an hourly rate. And again, if there's a HR issue that needs to be taken care of, they handle it. We don't. We shouldn't be handling it, because there's too much, what's the word I'm looking for? Attachment. Yeah, so what you see there is the hourly rate, and they come in as needed. It's basically like we have our own attorneys, except they deal with just human resource issues.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
Okay, so we have a contract with them, is that my understanding? How long would that contract be?
It's in here. Contract's
I'm
in there, I
looking
don't
here at
recall.
the.
you can have 30 day, you can have 30 days termination.
Yeah, there's a
Because I thought-
30-day termination. You
Okay,
do sign
and-
an agreement,
Because what I thought what I read was that it doesn't, either one can
Right.
terminate for any reason.
or any reason, correct.
Okay, and then if there's an issue, do we call them and they come in, or do we address it over the phone and they give the advice, or how does that
Either
work?
way, whatever you want to do. You call them, let them know what the issue is, they come in and handle it, or they give you advice on what you should do.
And based on what it is we're calling about, that determines the hourly rate?
Yes,
That-
Would we have a single point of contact with this person?
yes.
And who would their contact person be
It's,
with us?
her name is Heidi.
Who would Heidi be in contact with?
Oh, I don't know. I guess
Who would?
kind of like our attorneys, whoever calls them.
Well, we should have a single point of contact with them.
That's fine. Susan's got HR, she can be it.
Because you don't want everybody calling, and then it gets just
I agree.
uncontrollable. You need to have a single point of contact.
And one of the comments I had made when we approved that $10,000 in the budget is that if we have a service that's going to tell us what we need to do, we need to follow through with that.
Yep, I
We can't
agree.
ignore it. We need to follow through, whether we agree or not. We are not the professionals, they are. That's my
agree.
opinion.
You're absolutely right. I agree.
But the question is, should we allow this person from Michigan Municipal League to do something for free? To do
Well,
that
you know, we
first?
did that with the sewer study rate, and then it turns out that no one was happy with it, and then we paid another $25,000. We paid $25,000 to get it done, and we were back where we were the first time. You know, so are we going to
We're not really back where we were the first
Well-
time. We have some very good information that we
The numbers are pretty
we
much
acted
alike.
upon some of it.
But we got what we paid for. I guess that's what I'm looking
Yeah.
at. You get what you paid for.
And we did budget money and put money aside specifically for this. And again, I think that, not to say that Michigan municipals would not maybe do a good job, but at this point in time, I mean, I think that something needs to be done almost immediately. So I would make a motion. I want to put some kind of restrictions on it, whether it be 60 days and not to exceed a certain dollar amount, if that would work out possibly.
I mean, if you need something done right now, this would be your best option. And you do have the ability to cancel it if you find that we can get the service, same type of service, free through that municipal. So I don't see a problem if we're having that much of an issue in the office. I don't see a problem with taking care of it now if we have to. Waiting doesn't solve anything.
Right, just makes matters worse.
I'd be interested in hearing what kind of parameters you would put around it to approve it.
I'm going to put a days and then not to exceed amount on it. I'd like to do. Not to exceed, or try up to 60 days and not to exceed like $2,500 is what I'd like to do.
That's fair.
Susan would be the point of contact.
Support?
I didn't-
Oh.
Has legal reviewed the contract?
No.
Would you want to amend your motion, Mike, to pending legal review of the contract?
Yeah, I never even made a motion yet.
Oh, you didn't? Okay.
Yeah, definitely. I'll make a motion to go ahead and approve the Sage Solutions HR for their services, not to exceed 60 days and not to exceed $2,500. Susan Kraft will be the point of contact for Heidi, and agreement won't be signed until it's been approved by our Township law firm.
Also, that a report comes to the rest of the board, and she comes up with her findings.
Report would go to the rest.
The rest of the board, yeah,
To the entire board.
the entire board,
Which I don't know why she
Entire
would do
board
that.
would get a report, yeah. Okay. Did you need
Support.
support by DeGiorgio. Is there any other discussion? You want to read that back? Anne Marie, did you get it all?
That you're going to approve Sage Solutions Group not to exceed 60 days, not to exceed 2,500. Susan will be the point of contact. This will be pending legal review. Decide to tell us when review is legal. And then when they are done, they will report to everyone.
Pretty fast writer. Motion by myself, support by DeGiorgio's. There's no other discussion. Can we get a roll call, please?
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Motion passes. Frank, you'll contact Heidi?
Yep. I'll send it to Bob.
Okay, let's move on to item 7A of under new business. Peter Martin, special land use parcel number 14-0107-300-012. Mike, you want to take that?
Sure. We had a gentleman come in here for a special land use for a accessory building. Two variances he was looking at. One was size, and the second was location. On the size issue, after discussion with the Planning Commission, he decided to build his outbuilding or accessory building in compliance with our size ordinance for his size property. So that was off the table. He also agreed that he would build his accessory building with matching colors to his primary residence. And the location that he picked is he couldn't put it in the required location because the topography of his property is a severe drop-off in a lot of trees. We're here to preserve trees. So the Planning Commission voted to, or made a recommendation for our board to approve the special land use to build his accessory building in a non-required front yard or side yard.
Is this Mr. Martin in heaven?
Is that you? Yeah, you want to add anything to that?
No, you did great.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my recommendation would be that the board approve the special land use. And if we could use the same wording from the Planning Commission in the minutes, and I'll read it for you. The recommendation to the board is for placement of new construction accessory building in the side yard, not the front yard, and is conditioned on the applicant volunteering modifying his application from 30,840 square feet to a maximum size of 3,124 square feet. That is the permitted size for a lot size of 10 to 15 acres. The applicant also offered to build with matching colors, primary structure to preserve and maintain vegetation screening. In other words, keep the screening that's currently there and maintain it. And the topography, hardship, and tree preservation were considered for the approval.
I'll support that motion, Mike. Did you need a copy of those minutes?
She's
Ready to
got
make it easier on
It
yourself?
was part of the packet, I think.
Yeah, she's got it.
Yeah.
Motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? Did you mention the parcel number in your motion and the address?
If we use the motion from the Planning Commission, the description is there. It's parcel number 14-01-28-400-015,
Got it.
or
Okay.
77622 Pearl Drive.
Make sure we get that in there, Anne Marie. okay?
Yes, in the minutes.
A motion and a second. There's no other discussion. Can we get a roll call, please?
Yes.
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 Yes. Thanks, Mr. Martin. Appreciate it. Good luck, you know.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I had one question on, regarding that, Mike, and I know that it was just for discussion. I know that he does have a bonus room above his garage, and it is a ranch-style house. And I know it's kind of a gray area, but I know that building does look at the bonus room as living space. And seeing that it is a living space and it is a ranch style of the house, it should be, I think, concluded. I see if it's maybe a two-story level, but seeing it's a single-story level and it's over the garage, if he's got another 4,000 square feet of living space, which it could be a bedroom, it could be a workout room, I think that should be included in for future uses and square footage of the house,
We look at the square footage of the first floor only.
which that would be, well, technically it's above the garage, which would still be included in the living quarters of a single floor.
So how would that impact our motion?
Because it was based on square footage, and he was asking for 3,400, which he would have, if it would have included the bonus room, he would have had, he's capable of having a bigger size.
Yeah, but we don't include the second floor. You only include the first floor.
Right, I'm saying, you get where I'm going with this, is it's kind
We
of,
don't.
so when we do assessing,
Yeah.
and when we do building, it's all looked as livable areas. It looked at as a bedroom or any other kind of an area of the house, the bonus room does, is what I'm saying. Assessing's billing them or taxing them accordingly also. So I'm just saying it's like, I mean, if it is livable space, why can't it be included in the square footage, even though I know that the PC,
Because we look at the footprint on the ground. That's the planning, that's the ordinance 161, the way it reads today. I mean, if there's another consideration, I wouldn't necessarily agree to consider the second floor living space.
yeah, but this is additional to the first floor living space. So it's like a second floor, you got, let's say 3,000 on the lower level and you got another 3,000 on top, which I get. But if you got 3,000 over here and you don't have nothing above, but you got another 3,000 over here, 2,000, it's a whole separate piece, you know, that's livable. I mean, that's all I'm saying. Just my question is has that been considered?
No, because it wasn't consistent with ordinance 161. We have to go by ordinance 161,
Right.
which does not include the second floor.
Okay. All right.
But the applicant was willing to downsize his building, so it basically took that issue off the table for us.
But if he had a much smaller house, let's say, he would end up with a much smaller barn.
Right, exactly.
So that's where I'm looking at it too. And he's got 15 acres and it's, you know, so you're basing it on square footage of the house no matter what size the property is. So if he only had an 1,800 square foot house, his barn would be significantly smaller on 15 acres, and it just
And that-
doesn't.
That was the whole objective of the ordinance, is not to have an outbuilding bigger than your
Right, okay. All right, thanks, Mike.
Yeah, thank you.
We move on to item 7B, which is our high-tech agreement, service agreement. Susan,
Yeah.
know that best.
So there are a couple changes to our agreements. I found a server. He wasn't even aware of that server, was he, in the fire department?
I don't know if he was aware of it or not.
Yeah. And a new security measure, that's that last item, Pam. Privilege access management. So some of the stuff went up, but only 3%, two of the things, and the rest is all the same. Those two additions.
So what is the new price? Is it still 2512?
Yes, that's the new price.
And the old price was,
Well, some of them went up 3%, not much. It was
3% less.
133.
3% less?
Not all. That last one is a new item.
Is the 999 or 99 added in there monthly for the security?
62,
62, so one down. Okay.
Same level of service we've been receiving?
yes, with the new security tool added.
Okay.
Make a motion to accept the high-tech contract as presented.
Second.
Second by Therese. Any other discussion? Not, may we get a roll call, Anne Marie, please? Yes.
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 Motion carries. Move on to item 7C, the fire department update. Chief?
So do you want me to start with the update or just start with the monitors?
Whatever you, the monitors is a separate agenda item, but we can bring, if you want us to put 7D ahead of 7C, that's up to you. What do you got in front of you? You ready to do the monitors?
So the monitors,
We'll get item 7D, the fire department monitors.
passed out in the board packet. Has everybody had a chance to look at it?
Yep.
So basically, I'm coming aboard to ask for approval for basically the 10-year cost plan, which would be $42,000 a year for 10 years, totaling $420,000. Are there questions, concerns, comments that I can answer?
Can you explain technically what this monitor does?
So it's the same, it's obviously, so our monitors currently are 8 years old. We consistently pretty much turn them out after about 10 years. So we're about 2 years away from upgrading the monitors currently. The biggest reason we're going this route is that the county is going to require us to have something different on our monitors, which was going to be included in these monitors, as I explained in here. So there's two options that we could go. We could either purchase roughly, I believe it's $30,000 to upgrade the monitors currently that we have, that we're probably going to pretty much its end of life will be 2 years from now, or we include that in the new current monitors that we want to purchase. And after 5 years in this program, they're going to upgrade the monitors also. So we're going to consistently have the latest and greatest monitors that we need to provide cardiac service for the township.
Are these required for fire departments to have?
ALS departments.
You done, Mike? You have more questions?
I just have one other. What's prompting us to do the lease versus just buying?
So I
What's
think
the main driver?
the main driver is that longevity, and we're getting the new equipment. So, and the prices keep going up. So we're basically, even though we're paying a little bit more right now, right? Because as you can see, $240 to upgrade all the monitors versus $420 over the 10 years. The biggest thing is that we don't have to come up with $240,000 right out of the gate. We're going to spend $42,000 every year for the next 10 years. So,
And you get an automatic upgrade.
and we get an
every 5.
automatic upgrade in 5 years, and we also, it's basically bumper to bumper too. Doesn't matter what happens to the monitor, whether it breaks, gets dropped.
So it's
the
fully
cables,
warranted.
It's fully warranted, and we do, throughout the year periodically, we're buying new leads, we're buying new blood pressure cuffs, things that just get broken just from normal wear and tear, and all of that is now covered. So,
Are you done, Mike?
Yes, thank you.
Are we looking to make these purchases before the 2-year, 10 years is up on what we currently have?
we're looking to make them this year, so you're a year out, basically.
And then, I mean, we bought the ones we currently have. Did we buy, how many we have? 4? One for each Alpha?
We currently have 4, correct.
So we paid $30,000. Did we buy all those at one time? Did we pay $120,000 for 4 monitors all at one time, or were they bought over?
No, when we switched from the prior monitor to the Zolls, we bought all of them at the same time.
So then what about resale on the current ones we have? I mean, it's
That's
still,
included in,
that's
this
our trade-in
proposal.
price.
yes, that's included in our, it's basically a trade-in price on our proposal. Because, again, they're not going to be, in another year or so, honestly, they're probably not even going to be servicing these monitors either. So,
So basically, we got, I mean,
the biggest thing is it allows us to stay compliant, first of all, with the county and for the township and what we do, the service that we provide.
we have like, we pay for the, we're going to lease them instead of purchase them. It's going to cost us $180,000 more over a 10-year period than what we bought them outright, which is $18,000 a year, which is primarily our insurance policy for bumper to bumper.
Yeah.
And whatever interests are given us or that we're charging us on it. I do like the fact that we continuously are going to keep rotating them out of stock. I guess if a new monitor comes in stock, it doesn't cost us any more to have it rotated.
No, and we're looking, so let's say we do just do the upfront cost, right? It's the $240,000 we keep for 10 years. Those monitors probably at that 10-year mark, honestly, they're probably going to be somewhere around $80,000 a piece, if not more.
We're going to have a
Conservative estimate is $60,000.
but we're going to hit, probably after 10 years, they're going to hit us with a new renewal charge on a new monitor.
We could either purchase them outright. They do not know what that amount is because they don't, until the next model comes out, which isn't coming out for another couple years, they're not going to know what the residual is on that. So at that 10-year mark, we could have the option of either purchasing these or continuing another plan.
Are there other companies that offer this?
There could be, but we use Zoll. There's only 2 monitoring
Zoll's a very,
we've ever used.
very big company.
And Zoll's
Much-
compatible with all the
The reason I'm
hospitals.
asking is we have a purchasing policy that requires us to competitively bid anything over $7,000. Is there a reason why we wouldn't, what would be the main driver for not competitively bidding this?
Because all the hospitals that we deal with have Zoll. So all our pads are interchangeable.
So Zoll is kind of like the industry standard?
It's pretty much the industry standard. So like if we have a cardiac arrest patient and we have our pads with our monitor, let's say we transport to Troy Beaumont, all they do is we take our monitor off, we don't have to take the pads off the patient, there's no downtime. They clip the pads that we're using currently right into their monitors because that's what they use.
Excellent.
It's pretty much the industry standard. So we've had other monitors. These are military grade. They've been tested, year over year.
So I know, looks like Brandon did he did the background on this. Is that from Brandon Casper, I think?
This is from Lieutenant Heil.
From who?
Lieutenant Heil.
Oh, Lieutenant Heil.
Brandon, Lieutenant Casper also did work on this, but this came
Got Brandon's name on it.
from Lieutenant Heil.
Great job putting it together. So, I mean, you weren't looking at doing these things for a couple of years now, but was this budgeted in your budget this year, by any chance?
It was not budgeted in our budget this year. It was brought to me, and I think it's a good opportunity. Again, cost increases, no difference than us, when you gave me approval for the ambulance, which was $330,000. The longer we wait, it's just, everything just increases, and it just snowballs, and it gets worse and worse. So we would probably take this out of our capital outlay.
You have it. I know the budget was kind of tight due to the the Romeo contract. I know you were cutting back on a lot of things. You're gonna be able to make it happen?
We should be able to make this happen, no problem. Because again, once the Romeo contract got settled, there were funds there, so we increased a little bit on the capital outlay.
What about your negotiations that may be coming up? They're gonna, that's another.
This is our bread and butter. It's what we do, 90%
I get it.
medical.
No, I'm not saying it's not a good idea. We could afford it, but we currently have, good monitors that we're using, but maybe in 2 more years, like you said, they would be out. But if this is your recommendation, it's coming from Lieutenant Heil and probably the other guys.
Honestly, the worst scenario in the budget is we take it out of the fire fund or the ALS fund.
TV fund or something maybe, or the cable fund?
Franchise fees.
Well,
Make a motion, we approve the cardiac monitor proposal as presented.
Support.
Worked by Susan. Is there any other discussion?
I think you need to amend the motion to waive our purchasing policy requirement to competitively bid. And I would, if you do that, I would state that the Zoll is an industry standard in the ALS field. And that would be the reason.
Okay, go ahead.
You want to amend your motion
Yeah.
to include that?
I would amend the motion to approve the cardiac monitor proposal and waive the $7,000 competitive bid ordinance. And going with Zoll because they're the industry standard.
Anybody support? You said you're going to support it, Mike?
I think Susan supported it.
Oh,
You support the
sorry.
second amended motion?
Yes.
Is there any other discussion?
I do have a question for you, Chief. In the notes from Zoll, it said that the delivery is upon availability. Do you know when those are going to be available?
I do not, but I can find out for you.
Okay.
Talk to the guys that handle it.
It's not like the,
Knowing everything else, 6 months.
So we don't have to worry about this 420 till then, or is this something, do we have to put
Probably not.
anything up front at this point?
No,
So this price will be locked in?
this price is locked in, correct.
So the good part is you only blow your budget by half a year.
Yeah. You know how much I like blowing the budget out, Mike. I appreciate the support, too.
Okay. Can we get a roll call, Anne Marie, please?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
yes.
Okay. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks. Now your report, Chief.
So updates from the fire department. So we are, as Mike brought up, in ongoing contract negotiations with the local 4076. That's in the process. That's going to take some time, but we are all working on that currently. We also started the process and negotiations to discuss the EMT medic program. It's working out good so far, but we have some kinks that we need to work out. So we're in the process of discussing that. Hopefully I will have something for you next board meeting that has addressed the situation that we're in with that program. The state finally has granted funding for new turnout gear for all full-time firefighters, so we're currently working on capturing the grant monies for that. We have to the end of the month. That was a great win for firefighters in the state of Michigan. So basically on that program, we currently have 18 full-time on the roster, myself 19. So we're looking to get possibly 20 sets. So I have another person that we're probably going to hire here shortly. So looks like we're going to be allocated for 20 sets of new gear, which is going to be awesome.
You said 20 or 27? 20?
So it's only for the full-time members.
Is this a grant that you're applying for?
It's a grant that we are applying for that expires at the end of the month, that the state has allocated to every department. So you basically, if you apply for it, you receive it.
You guys haven't applied yet.
We're in the process because we're trying to figure out what program we need to use. Lieutenant Heil is working on this because last month, the way your grant process was working, we have to go through that same system. And the state did not know the answer if we were going to use our normal process or we're using that process. So there's a lot of questions
Is
here.
that the SAM?
Yes.
For that particular grant, is the township required to pony up any money for that?
There is no funds required for the township.
And just for, Chief, I know you're still relatively new to the job, even though you've been on it a while. But I think this board wanted all grants to come to us before they were applied for.
So this is an automatic grant, if that helps.
What does that mean, automatic?
It's basically, again, if we apply, we receive it. It was handed down from the state to all fire departments in the state of Michigan.
I don't have a lot of concerns over this one because there's no contributing money, but we were concerned if there's any contributing money that any grants, any future grants come to the board first.
I know we discussed that.
Yeah, okay.
There was another one last night.
This window is very small.
Oh, I
We
get
just
it.
received notice last week, and we have until, I believe, like the 20, whatever the last Friday is of this month to receive this. And
Did we get the SAMs thing figured out?
there was a conference call, I believe, today. Lieutenant Howe was in on that.
Dorothy and Paul
I
are
should
the ones who
know.
used to handle that.
Right, I should know tomorrow. So the state of Michigan didn't even know the answers. There were so many questions that every department had. Because again, it goes down to the ID number, or can we use we're supposed to use the same ID number. Can we use the same account as the township under the fire department? And so there's a lot of questions on this.
A lot of
Hopefully we can-
security to go.
Yep, and hopefully we can straighten it out in the next couple days. Again, we do not have a lot of time on this.
You guys got another grant at the Michigan Governmental Credit Union. You guys received, that was another one of those kind of hand-me-down things.
We
but I
did,
know
we
that
received
Tom-
one yesterday from Michigan Government, Schools and Government, where we have our funds at, Frank.
Michigan Schools of Government.
Michigan Schools of Government gave us a $1,000 grant that one of the guys applied for an AED.
Tom Karam,
Tom Karen.
credit was,
We received that yesterday. Still in the process. I know we've talked about this a lot. The Echo, Bravo, it's close to being completed at this time. There's just been a lot of ups and downs with it. So hopefully soon we will be with 3 Alphas, 1 Echo, which is a paramedic engine, and 1 Bravo. And you guys wanted me to touch base on coordination positions. The fitness coordination position is on, we've done ongoing training for the coordinator. We've acquired all NFPA standards, acquiring equipment needed, creating medical, physical standards and different options. We're also creating our on-site physical agility test to become compliant with the contract. So that's consistently ongoing, all these positions are. The grant coordinator position, we again had a short window this year to apply. It was a month. Typically, it's a lot longer than that. So we applied for gear extractors for all 3 stations, a new engine, radios, and mobile radios in conjunction with Ray Township, Harrison Township, Armada, Shelby, Home Township, and the city of Utica. Also, that position has facilitated delivery of, obviously, you're aware of the SEBA grant that we acquired ordering that, delivering it, installation of the power load and the power cot systems, as well as funds. Continuation of progress reports and financials to complete these grants. We're in compliance on all of that. In the process of ordering the carbon monoxide detectors to complete the other ongoing grant that we have. That's a 2-year grant. So we have to do half this year and half next year. Also, we've streamlined the governmental accounts to ease with submitting, accepting, and receiving grants awarded. We had a lot of different emails, accounts, logins, passwords, so Lieutenant Howe spent a lot of time on that, streamlining all that in that position. The maintenance position we've streamlined the process and has saved the department approximately $5,000 to $6,000 currently, repairing and maintaining various projects and equipment. It also has helped with timelines, expediting repairs and putting equipment and apparatus back into service without any delay. Program's worked out great so far. The light duty position needs to be worked on. I feel it needs to be worked on and revised. Worked flawlessly for one of our employees, not for another. So it's gonna, I think we're gonna continue having discussions on that. I'm gonna try to tweak that program a little bit. Like you'd requested my 30, 60, 90-day plan. I don't know how in-depth you wanted me to get into that, but about 90% of that plan's been accomplished. Various projects are still ongoing or in the process of being completed. A few tasks currently are unattainable due to funding and staffing. Overall, great strides and progress have been made to move the department forward.
Any big ones outstanding?
No. Some of it's structuring, things like that. The biggest one, I guess, would be on my 90, where I wanted to create the program for getting feedback from the community. That's probably one of the biggest ones.
So I got a couple questions, if you don't mind.
Sure.
On the maintenance position, it says we've saved $5,000 to $6,000 currently. How much has it cost us to have that position in place since June?
So those positions, you have one person, that's the EMT to medic, and you have one paramedic, so 5% to each of their salaries.
What is that approximately for 9 months?
Isn't it like
So yearly, you're probably looking at $3,500 for the one person and probably $2,500 for the other person.
So currently, they're close to break even.
They're probably better than breaking even. They're being very conservative and very limited on their times. and-
If I was in my old
what
world.
we are charging.
In my old world, I would want to see how much have we saved, how much did it cost, and what is the net, to see if it's worth having the position.
And it's a difficult number to come up with, right? So the guys are working on, they're going to replace, I believe, 12 or 14 lights that we have up at Station 2, which are currently halogens, and we're going to LED. Unless we bring somebody in to quote that out, and the electrician tells us, hey, that's $6,000 for us to do that, it's tough to get that accurate of a number that you're looking for. But those are the projects that they're working on. They replaced all the lighting at Station 3. Again, I'm sure if an electrician came out, it could have been a couple $1,000s.
The key to these positions, though, is that they should save more than what's cost. That's
They're definitely doing that. They're definitely doing that.
And then the fitness coordinator position, one of the key things in that one that we approved was doing a semi-annual fitness assessment for all personnel based on NFPA 1583.
We're still working on it.
And this was approved in January 23, so it's 15 months that we don't have.
I agree.
I would say there has to be some focus on that.
Agree.
Okay. And I think, board, you guys need to follow up on that.
You're going to have to come back and.
And again,
I'll come visit for chit chat.
that falls on myself, Susan, and now, I believe, Therese, before it was Lisa. Again, that program should have been implemented. It's a contractual position, and it's taken some time. But I agree with you.
I mean, that's a big benefit, is doing that.
It is.
Thanks for the update.
Welcome.
Oh, you're still going? Light duty? We did that, okay. Good and bad.
Thanks, Steve.
Can't be good all the time. Try to. But thank you for your service too, Mike. You're leaving a pretty big void.
We haven't accepted his resignation. We're hoping he's going
Well,
to
it
change his
sounded like
mind
you
in the
did
next
earlier
half
in
an
the
hour.
meeting, so I just,
Thank
a
you.
lot of years of dedicated service you've put in. So, gonna be missed.
Thanks, Chief, for the update.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's move on to item 7E, which is our Parks and Rec fireworks permit. This we do every year. It's for the Peach Festival, Parks and Rec. Puts it on. Chief, did you have a chance to take a look at the permit? Is there any issues or any concerns? I know you.
There were not, and I apologize. I did look for that email. I thought I sent it back, but there are no issues on our end. Something seems to have changed. We'll still provide staff on hand.
Is this the same guy that's been doing it, I think, right? How many years now? Quite a few, right?
I think it's been about 4 years
so.
now.
Yeah, it's done at Crystal Diamonds. Yep. I know every year we have an issue with the expiration date on certificate of liability insurance. I mean, I don't even see an expiration date on this one other than the date at the top of 6/27 of 23. I don't even know if that means it's expiration, but every year they usually send us a current policy, but it does expire between the time that we approve it and the time that the fireworks. They do usually submit another liability insurance policy that's up to date, so if anybody wants to make a motion, as long as we receive that liability policy prior to the fireworks, that would be great. No?
I'll make the motion, Mike.
Okay. Go ahead.
Or the motion that we receive an updated policy prior to the approval of the fireworks.
But you're going to approve the
The application.
application as presented with,
And I'll approve the application as presented with that exception.
sounds good.
I'll second that motion.
Second by Tremblay. Can we get a roll call, please, Anne Marie?
Yes.
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 Okay, motion carries. Item 7G, or 7F, the IFT criteria. Last month, we did have industrial tax abatement application, and Mike did bring up the subject that, do we have any kind of a guideline on which we would base our decisions on? I had this thing done maybe a year ago that I put together. I did talk to some of my friends that were level 4 assessors, and this is some of the criteria that they would use. And this is my recommendation. I mean, it's kind of a cheat sheet that we can use and can go off of. You can add your own notes when you do grade your applications. We don't technically have to all grade at the same level for the same things. I mean, when we're making a decision on this, but it's kind of an idea. We look at the type of use, obviously the type of use that like a warehouse would not score as high as a research and a technology place, and how much investment of real property they're going to make into the community. Obviously 0 to 1.5 million would only score like a 1 year of abatement, and anything in excess of $6 million would score 5 years and more. Investment in personal property, the same thing, 0 to 1 million would only give you a lower point, or lower years, which would be a 1, and then in excess of 3 million would be like a 4. Then a total amount of new full-time employees. It's obviously a big thing that we look at. Under 10 employees would score lesser than anything over, let's say 100 or more employees. So these are just things that it would be a guideline. If you guys so choose to use it, I think it would be a great start, So you can add to it or we can change it. It's not been adopted by the township at all.
So it's just a tool when we're looking at this
Pretty much, yeah.
application.
So Mike, I have a question. How dated are the numbers here?
I did them last year. What do you mean?
Well, I would think that maybe you want to maybe increase the dollar values to score points.
Which dollar values are you talking
Well,
about?
the real property and the personal property.
So personal property, they no longer, since I put this together until currently right now, personal property, they don't really look at that as far as value in the building anymore. But you can still go on personal property and what may be inside. It's part of the building package that we get, but the real property, I mean, yeah, I mean, you think that because like the 0 to 1.5 million, we're going to have a lot of smaller buildings and it may need to score higher? You're thinking, or what do you, give me an idea.
I would think that you would make it a little more difficult, like maybe 0 to 2 million would be one, for example. Or maybe just increase the values. So the bigger the investments would be more applicable to us. Because it looks like this would, you'd get there pretty easy with these numbers.
Okay.
But this is just a guideline, right? It's- it isn't something that
Yeah,
you're
but if you use it as a
proposing.
guideline.
1 year, so we're looking at, I mean, if you score real well in all of the 4 criterias, you would look at maybe a 12-year
Right.
tax abatement. If you're on the lower side, because we do have a lot of smaller buildings, let's just take in for consideration something like the Rizzo building, it just got approved down on Beaver Creek. We have 25 1 to 2 acre parcels down in there, and their buildings are going to be basically around 300 to 500,000. Rizzo's is going to be a little bit more, but I'm saying the other one we're looking at, Visionary right now, I think the cost to build that structure is 284,000, just under 300,000. So it only put him in at 1. He's only going to score a 4-year tax abatement if he did come in anyways, if you look at the amount of employees and amount of the real.
Here's my
property.
concern is, do you want it, if you make this easy enough, you're going to give everybody a tax abatement.
Right.
That's the only question I have.
I think
Do
that
we
it's
want-
not the matter if we want to give tax abatements out. I think that we want to encourage people that we do have a tax abatement that we do have to offer. It's a matter of how many years, I think is what
Right,
it would be.
right. But I think with this criteria, you can get to 12 pretty easy. That's my own. I don't know if anybody else had any thoughts on that.
I looked at it, like I said, we have a lot of buildings that go up under the $1.5 million mark, and a lot of buildings that only have less than 10 employees, and a lot of buildings that don't have a lot of real property.
So
I think
you can have a few that won't reach the 12.
Well, they're not going to make 5. They're going to be more in the 4.
Okay.
And we don't have, I mean, you're not going to get, a lot of buildings are going to be in the $6 million range, you know, I mean, or $4 to $6 million range. But I mean, like Susan said, it's just kind of a reference, and if you consider it a little bit and look at some of the buildings we have and some of the stuff that may have come across the planning commission, and maybe on costs, and then take a look at the sheet and see where you're at in scoring a building or two maybe, and I'm willing to put anything on there, like you said. So I want to be fair, and I also want to try to encourage the business and to bring commerce into the industrial
'Cause
corridor.
if we don't give it to them, someone else will.
This is helpful.
Great thing. So I don't think there's a motion unless we want to accept it, but I didn't really put it together to make it an acceptance. No.
It's a point of data to use.
Okay. Now let's move on to item 7G, the Armada Water Agreement. So back in, let me look at this, 2016, Bruce Township and Armada got together and they put together what they called a sewer and water district. Armada needed to put a sewer and water district together. At that time, they thought that they were going to get sewer from the Village of Romeo. So the agreement that we had prior to this one included a sewer and water agreement, which since they never did get sewer from the Village of Romeo, that agreement needed to be amended to take out the sewer district in there. They do currently have the water district. We supply them water. They're basically a user on our system, and we get all the tap fees and charges for all that, meter fees and everything else. So basically what you got in front of you is an amendment that takes the sewer district out and just puts the water district in. That makes any sense? And I've got an email. This has already been approved this was drawn up by Bob Siebert, which is both Armada's attorney and our attorney, and it's been approved already at the Armada board.
What's the term of this agreement, Mike?
Maybe a good point. I'd have to look at the original agreement because this is an amendment to the original agreement. I don't have that in front of me unless I got it in Bob's notes. But it's not changing the term of the agreement. It's going to just change the
Just
wording
taking
to
the
take
sewer
out.
out.
It's like it was first executed in 2016, right?
Yeah. This is a second. I can get that number for you, Mike, but
Yeah, typically, they're very long-term,
yeah.
up to 30 years.
I mean, needless to say, we have a great working relationship with the village, or with Armada Township. I talk with John Paternick on a regular basis. He calls me on a regular basis. We have a good relationship with Armada, but,
How much water are they currently using?
so the original contract was looking at 300 or 30,000 gallons a day. Now they're looking at 100,000 gallons a day, but they have not really got no more than two users on the system, no different than when this agreement was originally written, but they are looking to put, LaFata's looking to put 5 buildings in, which they're going to get on water. So they're going to increase the water main in their district to supply water to LaFata.
I think it's good that we have more water customers. That will help
Right.
us with,
Doesn't that help reduce the rates
it should,
when we
because
negotiate?
you'll have less high fluctuation.
We're looking to provide water at 30,000 gallons to 100,000 gallons per day.
Okay.
But I'll make motion to go ahead and approve the Second Amendment to the interlocal governmental agreement between Bruce and Armada Township, as presented.
Second.
Second by Therese. If there's no other discussion, can we get a roll call, please?
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay, moving on, this item, motion carries. Item 7H is our backup water operator. So I think that, I'm sure you guys can recall that back when we first came in, that our water operator was under investigation by the state of Michigan, and we needed to find a water operator in a very short period of time because they were going to revoke that water operator's license. Just so happens I carry a water operator's license level, an S1 level, which is the highest that you can get from the state of Michigan. Unfortunately, it's good to have a water operator and a backup water operator. So at the time I came on as our water operator, we were also having a lot of problems because our testing wasn't getting done, and we were getting notices from Eagle. You guys can remember we were getting those. And we did get fined, I think, at one point. I think it was a smaller fine, but so I brought on this water operator. His name's Phil Exim. He's actually worked for the Village of Romeo. He's an S1 water operator also. He's been doing our testing, and he's been working with me as far as our bringing everything up to where we should be at. Keeps our, I mean, it's hard to explain how many times he does water testing. It's usually, I think it's 4 times a year. He goes and knocks on doors and gets water samples, and he does send them in. And I think that Anne Maria, you guys might see that that's where the UPS comes through, when UPS ships them out. But he's doing a great job. We're 100% compliant with the state of Michigan. I couldn't ask for a better guy. He was on at $135 an hour. He did approach me and asked me if we would bump his pay to $150 an hour. He currently doesn't put in more than 20 hours a year right now, so it's only going to make at the maximum about a $300 a year increase in his pay if he does it, if he ever does work the 20 hours. But just keep in mind, if there's a water main project, that may be a water main break or something else, or there's an emergency situation, that number could change. But so far, we have a new system and everything seems to be going really well. But that's what I would like to make a proposal to go ahead and increase this rate of pay from $135 to $150 an hour during his testing phases on sampling. So, I mean, you don't hear anything about it, so everything's running very well. Before, when things weren't running very well, we were getting notices left and right from the state of Michigan and Eagle. So. And I just put down some of the notes that you got in your board packet of what transpired back when we hired him in 2022. And his information on his application.
So to execute this, you're just going to update this letter to include the new rate?
I could, Mike, and add a letter to
Because
it.
right now, the letter says we'll continue to decide you no longer want to provide the services, but there's a rate of $135. You'd have to update that letter to include the new rate.
Yeah. Yeah, I could do that, sure.
Thank you.
He also gets $500 annually. That's for his licensing. I've never charged the township for my license or my CECs. There is like 20 you have to do almost 4 8-hour days on your CECs, and the classes, you get 1/10 of a CEC for, you need to get 3.5 every 3 years. For 1 8-hour day is like, I think it's like 0.25 credit. So you got to continuously go for classes. So he pays his own classes out of the 500. Never asked for reimbursement for any CECs, and personally, I've never come in either for any reimbursement. If you look at what you were paying before, it was $5,000, I think, through Waldorf, from our old water operators. So this is still a smoking deal compared to what we're paying before. So, okay.
Is that a motion you made before?
Motion to approve to have Phil's rate of pay from $135 to $150 an hour for a water system operator,
Support.
backup operator. Support by you, Giorgio. If there's no other discussion, can we get a roll call, please?
Yes.
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 Yes. I will get another letter, and I'll make sure we got a file. We should have a file on Phil anyways. I think all this other stuff went in there in the file, so I'll get that letter together, Mike. Move on to item 7I, the Planning Commission appointment. No, 7.
7I.
7I is the Planning Commission appointments. So I spoke with, only spoke with Mandy, but I know I've talked to Rick before. Both Mandy Barnett and Rick Hagelstein's appointments both expire at the end of, at 6/30 of 2024. I'm looking to reappoint them from 6/30 of 2024 to 6/30 of 2027. It's a 3-year term. I think we need to make the appointments separately, if I'm not mistaken, right? One each, different motions. So under item 7I, number 1, reappoint Mandy Barnett, I'll make motion to reappoint her from 6/30 of 2024 to 6/30 of 2027.
Support.
Work by Giorgio. We do all in favor, right? I think it'll be fine.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? No. Motion carries. And items I, point 2 would be reappointing Rick Hagelstein from 6/30 of 2024 to 6/30 of 2027. All in favor?
I'll second the motion.
I'll second.
Supported.
I'll support
Work by Tremblay.
and say aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nays? Motion carries. Okay, thanks. Moving on to Planning Commission goals, item 7J. Mike?
Yeah, we've been doing planning commission goals for a number of years. We just have some slight modifications to this. We added 8 and 9. Those are new for this year. 8 is to review the master plan in light of the Township Board's historical decisions which have led to a shrinkage of the industrial corridor over time, and consider modifying the master plan accordingly. And we're going to be starting that activity in June. And then the second thing we added was the Planning Commission to look at agribusiness and agritourism opportunities and recommend modifications to current zoning ordinances the Township Board has deemed necessary. And there's a little committee going on right now to look at agritourism and agribusiness and see what we want to do, if anything, to the ordinances to support those activities. The rest of it's pretty much the same from last year. So I'd ask the board, unless they have any heartburn with any of these goals, that we accept these goals for the Planning Commission. I'll make the motion to accept them as presented.
Or,
Work by Susan? I heard Susan. Is there any other discussion? I think you guys are doing a great job. I think you got a very diverse planning commission, Mike, and, you know, not everybody agrees on everything, but it's kind of nice to bring everything to the table for discussion. So keep up the good work, all of you. Thank you. Got a motion and a second. If there's no other discussion, can we get a roll call, please?
Yes.
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 Okay, motion carries. Moving on to item 7K, which are planning commission goals. Mike?
Bylaws.
Bylaws.
I'm sorry.
We had to update our bylaws with the new meeting time. We moved it from 7 to 6 to be consistent with the board and with the zoning board of appeals. So I would make a motion to accept the planning commission bylaws as presented, which just modifies the date or the time of the meeting. 7 to 6.
Support.
Support by Therese. Discussion. Mike, has it been working out good at the 6 o'clock? Is everybody happy with that?
Yes. Yeah, it's working out fine.
Okay, great. If there's no discussion, roll call, please.
Yes.
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 Yes. Just one thing to note, though, with the bylaws, we have to appoint a board member to the planning commission replacement, unless the planning commission wants to modify the bylaw. It's not required, but historically, this township has had a member of the planning commission. I think Paul you were the rep for a long time, Paul, right? Paul, for as long as you recall, there's always been a board member as part of the planning commission, right? A board member as a part of the planning commission for as long as you recall?
Yeah.
Okay. You don't have to according to municipal law. According to our bylaws, we do.
Well, the state of Michigan requires.
No.
Because
You
it
say-
states it cannot be the supervisor. It strictly states-
Our bylaws state that, but the state of Michigan does not require it.
They use the word
It says may. The state of Michigan says may.
I have it, I could pull it up at home, it's strictly.
Well,
states
our
it
attorney,
cannot be the board member.
our attorney advised us that we don't have to, but the bylaws require it.
But if you amend them, we still.
But I think I just wanted to point out that historically, we've always had one.
Yeah, but I'll look it up, but there is a record where you must have one, and it can't be the supervisor. I know I've read that in the past. I'll pull it up when I get home.
Bylaws.
Is that a state wording you're saying, Paul? Because I think we were, on the supervisor, you said that's state recommendation, or that's in the bylaws?
I'll have to look it up. I know I've read that.
I think it's in the red book.
What's it?
It's in the little red book that you guys have. Because the supervisor makes appointments.
Okay.
Let me see.
Yeah, but to your point, Mike, we've always had a representative on the board.
Wouldn't you say that's helpful? Oh, that's helpful? Your experience
I think
now?
it is helpful, because then you have that person who's attended the meeting, they can brief the board real easily.
Well, that person represents the viewpoint of the board and the planning commission, which could sometimes be in conflict.
Talking with Bob Seaver, which our township attorney represents a lot of municipalities, he says there's very few municipalities that he's got where he has a representative that represents the PC that's on the board. You know, he says very seldom they ever come to the board level with.
Here's the sentence, I'll read it to you. All members of the commission shall hold no other municipal office, except that one member shall be a member of the township board, and one member shall be a member of the township zoning board of appeals. It doesn't say it can't be the supervisor.
Well, I'll pull that up, but it's something in the state. Maybe it's part of the town's MTA, I'd have to look.
Yeah, it's in
Could
that
be.
book,
Could be part of MTA.
It's in your book? You read it?
in that red book.
Saved.
Okay, so it's for this board to consider, and see if
It
it's
may be
required.
in the
Why are you
MTA.
thinking you're gonna get?
Well, we need to have somebody in there. We got to have a 6-member board, which could be deadlock on a lot of issues. Possibly, well, hopefully not. But yeah, I mean, I was going to temporarily fill it until we can get the amended bylaws in order where we don't have to have a.
The bylaws doesn't say you can't do it, but I don't know. if
I think
the
maybe it's-
Michigan law states that you can.
Well, it's good practice in any case.
Yeah, right, I would agree.
So Little Red Book is, that's basically, that's Robert's rules, and that's not something we've adopted, am I correct
No,
by
that's,
saying?
no, that's MTA we're talking about, that's what we call the MTA.
MTA
book.
sometimes provides guidelines, yeah.
All right. Let's move on to item 7L, which is our municipal credit and community credit contract with our SMART. We do this every year. I know that there's a lot of things that aren't really filled out on the paper, but if anybody's got any questions, I did know what it was before, and for some reason, I'm not going to remember. I think I did bring a cheat sheet somewhere. Does anybody have any questions regarding that at all? Kind of in a nutshell, I think, let me read this cheat sheet declares it. There's state funds that come from STAR and other community transportation systems. The dollar amount is based on the census data. SMART is a pass-through for this state funding, Act 51 state funds. The community credits funded money SMART collects from each community for a millage. Hold on. Formulas are not necessarily clear anymore because after 2008 depression and 2010 census drop numbers, it's based on census. Every community is different, and every community receives a certain amount of money, and this is what you see as our dollar amount. That's about all I got to know, so that didn't really help much.
But basically, this is to agree to accept these credits, right?
And turn them
Help
over.
fund.
We basically, we get them, but we're going to turn them over to STAR.
Yeah.
They're the,
Well, that only makes sense.
basically, they're our transportation authority for our community, and that's basically what we want to turn over to. Like I said, we've been doing this is our 4th year doing it. So I'll make a motion to go ahead and approve as presented, municipal credits,
Support.
support by Mike Tremblay. Is there any other discussion or questions? If not, can we get a roll call, please, Anne Marie?
Yes.
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 Yes. And move on to item 7M, which is our ordinance 195, or disorderly conduct. So this was upgraded a while back by Bob Siebert. Looks like back in 2/26 of 21. We are looking at the same ordinance again, and that's why it's back in front of you. It did not get approved last time. There's not been any changes, and if there's any discussion on this, we can try to answer some questions, but this time I'll make a motion to go and approve ordinance 195, disorderly conduct as presented from our attorney.
Last time we looked at this, we had a couple of residents that were in disagreement.
Yeah, quite a, we had a full room. Yeah. That was 3/17/21 on both of these.
We had, at the time, I'm not going to say, we had one particular one that kind of was a major, or kind of an issue person that would gather people together like that.
So what's the driving force for this? If we have issues that, because we don't have an ordinance, it creates an issue for us?
So I forgot, I was going to look at when the ordinance 195, when we have it's not very clear, it's very old, as well as some of our other ordinances, I'm sure you're aware of, and obviously, and it's just to bring it more up to date, their current issues. I mean, we have houses now that are closer together. It's not as rural in some areas. We take Cloverfield, for instance. There's other issues. We've got issues with chickens, and that's the next ordinance, is the noise with the chickens crowing all day long. And we technically don't even have a noise ordinance. It's been on hold prior to our administration. I don't even know how long it's been on hold prior to that. But it does say hold, on hold. So,
There are state laws that address it.
yeah, we have state laws, and there's always state laws that you can reflect on, but they also look at, we need to have our own ordinances. Every community basically has got them. And I know other communities are looking at cleaning up their ordinances too, and actually 2 of them from Macomb Township, the same 2 ordinances are on their agenda. I don't know when their meeting was, but it was going to be this month's meeting.
Some of this feels kind of vague and broad-reaching, too.
Well, like you said, it is, but if we got an ordinance that we can put a number on, and we do have a violation, and there is always the gray area that we can fall back on, and anything can fall under a nuisance, like a nuisance complaint on top of like a disorderly complaint, but it is, it can be an issue, and I know we got one particular situation that's going on in the township right now with a disorderly subject. So,
Support.
support by DeGiorgio. Any other questions?
If I recall, one of the things was the firearm
Yes.
restrictions.
So technically, is no firearm restriction, it's the amount of shooting that you can do, repetitive gunfire.
Well, there's restrictions on how many feet from a dwelling or occupied structure, and it seemed to cause
Where was that at,
some
Mike?
concern. 15.
So item 15, that's for hunting, and that's a DNR law?
Yeah, that's a state
It's
law.
the next one, next ordinance. So-
Okay, so this wasn't the one?
Well, they didn't like either one, but they're especially about target shooting, and that was
So
one issue.
the last time that these were in front of us, things were taken way out of context. This is, I mean, basically, there's nothing in here that says you're taking away anybody's gun rights. Everybody's still got an opportunity. Basically, it's a disorderly conduct ordinance. It doesn't say anything about taking away anybody's uses of a gun or shooting or hunting or anything else. So that was taken out of context primarily before. Even the noise ordinance, it does have some repetitive gunfire noise in there. That's not even taken away. You can shoot a gun 10 feet from your neighbor's house as long as you got a secure and safe backstop.
Number 14.
So, Mike, will this help you with some teeth to address a current situation?
Well, it helps me, and it also, yeah, it's definitely going to help us to clean up our ordinances a little bit. Some of our stuff is outdated. I mean, if you go back to way before the Shooky, into the Shooky days and before Shooky, some of our ordinances were written, and this is one of them that was written. It was very, when things might have been, in Bruce Township maybe only had a small number of people. We didn't, as far as I can see, we never had a noise ordinance. Never had a noise ordinance.
I went back and looked too. This says it's a draft, discussion draft, so was that the last time Seabird saw it?
Yeah.
So something could have changed?
If we have a change, I mean, we can change, but I mean, it's basically a discussion draft to go ahead and get it signed and put together.
So is your motion to accept this as written?
I made a motion to George, you already accepted it, or forwarded it, yeah.
Okay.
So, and I did make a motion as written. Did you have a change that you would like to recommend, Mike?
No, I don't.
Okay, motion by Philbrooks, support by DeGiorgio. If there's no other discussion, can we get a roll call, please?
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Yes. Motion carries. On item 7N, which is our noise ordinance, 197, noise ordinance disturbing the peace, or noise control. So again, this was another thing that was brought back to us back in 2023, whatever, meeting in March of 2021. Again, it's back in front of us. There is things in here that would help with the township. Regarding noise, we currently do not have a noise ordinance at all. This can have anything to do with like loud music, mufflers. Loud mufflers can be excessive gunfire. It could be people that have roosters that are crowing all day long. It could be a barking dog, even though you can fall under animal control with that. It could apply to a lot of different things. We currently do not have a noise ordinance in which we can, if it need be, have to write a citation bill to put an ordinance number on. So. And again, I have not had one issue where I've been out on a lot of noise complaints, but I've never gotten to the point to where it's ever had to, gotten to the point where I would have needed to write a ticket. And even this ordinance here is not going to change any of those, any of that at all. It's not making any stricter than how I already enforce it. It just gives me something I can write on there. On the citation, it does ask for an ordinance number. There's no ordinance.
Almost every one of these paragraphs, it refers to unreasonably upset or unreasonably upset there too.
So
That's kind of
a gray area. I mean, every one of a lot of our ordinances are the same, kind of got the same gray area, but it's just, we have a specific noise ordinance, but right now we don't have a noise ordinance. So we have 195 that is blank, and this is the ordinance to,
But we
or
have
196.
disturbing the peace ordinance.
right, and noise. They kind of go one and the other.
But we already have that one. saying?
Disturbing the peace of the, yeah, this is 190, that would be 196, this will replace that one.
Mike, do you recall when we had a group of people that were using firearms, and it was disturbing the peace because people thought there was a war going on?
That was in 21. That was
I
in
think that's
That was
why-
this.
21.
Is that what, and the police said they didn't have, our ordinance didn't have enough
They
teeth?
couldn't do anything about it.
But this would give us the teeth because it specifically talks about the discharge of firearms in groups of 3 or more which discharge not in compliance or which unreasonably disturbs the quiet, comfort, or repose of any person in the vicinity. You could have used that.
Right, but they can't use
With
it
the
anyway.
state
We don't have it right now. You mean,
But I mean, if this was, if
Yeah,
this
they
was.
could have used it back then, if we had this, yeah.
Mike, can I comment on that?
you comment, I know you commented last time, Paul, but go ahead, sure. Why don't- You were here during this the last time, I think.
Yeah, we got to be careful on any firearm ordinances. That is determined by the DNR. I mean, some of those issues we had in the past were just down my street, and the guy was well within his legal rights. The state police came out to his house, and afterwards, the sergeant of the state police came and apologized to the board for his officer being heavy-handed in a situation she had no authority to address, because it's strictly a DNR issue. Okay, and you live out by me, you hear firearms all the time. It's automatic firearms, all right? And once a year, we do black powder on my property and stuff like that. So you got to be very careful about adding these ordinances that, you know, really don't have a jurisdiction over. You know, you can set time frames, say, hey, you know, nothing after like 8 o'clock or night or whatever, you know, 8 in the morning to 8 at night, but to say you know, I mean, excessive firearms shooting, that's so vague and gray, what's the parameter for determining that, you know? Because one person might not mind, another person, you know, we got a lot of people moving in that aren't familiar with the country and what goes on out there. I have a neighbor who sights in his guns every fall, and they're out there shooting all day long. You know, but we notify each other we're doing that kind of stuff. But getting a lot of new people out in the areas that just may not understand life in the country, put it that way. All right, it is what it is. So you got to be very careful, that's all I'm saying. And we're adding more ordinances when we're having difficulty enforcing some of the ones we have, so.
You keep insisting on that we don't enforce the ordinances because some of the stuff that you're concerned about, it seems like you're the only one that complains about them. I got 10,000 other residents that I don't hear the same complaints on. And any of the complaints that don't even affect you, I don't even know why you're driving around looking for ordinance violations, because if you did really want to look around, I got a book that's about 3 inches thick. Almost every resident, I can almost guarantee yours and mine would have a violation if you really want to look for violations in ordinances.
Nobody drives around looking for them, Mike, but when it's a blatant and shines into the roadway.
That issue was addressed, and we've already discussed that, but you won't give it up, Paul. That's the problem. You just keep going on like an old book that you just don't stop. You just keep going. It was well handled. Those lights were just dimmed down. They were changed out. Very happy with the homeowners around there, and you're the only one that does. You live 3 miles from there, and you're the only one that complains about it. Well, so does a lot of other things, Paul.
Why have it?
Well, that doesn't make any sense.
Why have it?
This does make reference to Michigan statutory law in the firearms of 3 or more. So that's a concern then.
There is no concern, like Paul stated, that hunting regulations would be controlled by the DNR, but if you're shooting and you're not securely shooting or safely shooting, then the state police would get involved. And I still got the police report from your incident that went on at your house, and that was a safety issue, or in your proximity, your neighbor's house, whatever, but it did become a safety issue where the people that were living next door actually had to run and dive for cover because they were shooting through the woods, and it was not a very
It's not true. He had a legal backstop that was approved by the DNR.
I'm just saying, this is not taking away anybody.
So you don't know.
This doesn't take away anybody's guns rights. You can still shoot guns, you can still target practice, you can still do whatever you want to do, hunt or anything else. It's the excessive gunfire is what it basically boils down to. no different than loud music being played or construction going on after hours. It's no different than any of that. We're not taking away, and it doesn't say anything in here that you can't take your gun and walk out behind your house and shoot pop cans or target practice or take your AR out there and blow off one clip after the other. It's how long and what the length of duration that you do it for. And that was what became the issue that we were having. We had a piece of property where they were out there 4 or 5 hours at a time, continuously had anywhere from 3 to 6 people, and they were burning out one clip after another for 6 hours. People couldn't even get any peace and quiet on the weekends at all. And I mean, I don't know how you can find justice in that, myself personally. But anyways, this doesn't take anybody's rights away from them. And it's, again, being blown out of text or out of proportion. But you can, I guess, look at it however you want, but we currently have no noise ordinance in our books right now. And if you think that this noise ordinance is going to take away somebody's rights, that's totally up to you. But I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 196 as presented, unless somebody has a change that they'd like to make it as a draft, and as presented.
Can we take a look at Lennox, see what they have? Their municipality is kind of pretty similar to ours. If they have something?
If that's what you want to do, I would absolutely be in favor of doing that.
You want to table this till next month?
Yeah, we'll take a look at a couple of
Yeah.
other communities that, because I agree, I mean, we are a growing community, and it's only going to get worse.
It's not going to change anything the more we grow. It's the safety issues.
Right, well, that's what I mean. I mean,
But it's not, I mean, Mike will tell you right now, they're looking at chicken ordinances because the noise from a rooster's growing. We got one on the corner of Mellon and Kading Street, right in where they got half-acre parcels of land, they got 2 roosters. I technically don't have a noise ordinance where I can even enforce the roosters. I do wonder, and I can force it maybe under a nuisance complaint.
Right.
I mean, that's another issue I got. I got a guy playing loud music all hours of the day and night. I mean, extremely, extremely loud music. The Michigan State Police have been called out there. And this is just recently, but hopefully it's been corrected, but been called out there probably 4 or 5 times for this loud music continuously. Again, no noise ordinance.
Yeah, but this is from 21, so if we table it for a month to take another.
No, there's no hurry on it, but I'd like to get
If there's
something.
any harm in that, right?
Yeah.
Just means you're gonna miss the fun.
I miss the fun. Maybe I'll tune in.
Okay, let's table item 7 until next month then. I'll rescind my motion. Okay, let's move on to item 7, which is our Parks and Recreation compensation for commissioners. Mike, you were,
Yeah, I kind of spearheaded this. Where is it? What section? 4.2? Yeah, 4.2 is the only item I changed. That used to state that there would be no compensation. I'm proposing that we do $100 per meeting, or for $100 for a regular meeting. Bob Siebert has not seen this yet, but I wanted to see if this board would approve the concept, I'd send this to Bob. The process would be if we approve it and then Siebert is okay with the language or tweaks it, it would go to Washington for their approval, because both boards would have to approve a change. It would be the 3rd amendment to the interlocal agreement. Section 4.2 is the only section that's changed.
I'll
Go ahead.
support by DiGiorgio. I think it's a great idea. Thanks for putting it together, Mike.
Yeah, those people put in a good amount of time to support
Tell me
the
about
Parks
it.
and Rec.
It'll get easier.
We got a motion and support. If we don't have any other discussion, can we get a roll call, please?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Moving on to item, motion carries. Moving on to item 7P, the resolution 2024-09. Susan?
This is similar to what I brought to you before, but I took out the fall stipends for August and November. This is just for the presidential primary in February, where the state is paying for overtime. This would allow Amy, my deputy, to get compensation for some of the overtime that she put in. She does get paid, she has gotten paid. Somebody suggested she gets time and a half. She has to get 40 hours to get time and a half. They are also paying for that, the state. That's part of she has to put a report together by the end of the month. And it says in here to be reimbursed by the state of Michigan. So it's, none of her overtime would come out of township funds.
You mean she didn't get paid during the presidential?
Yes, she got
Right.
paid, but she gets reimbursed, just like this says reimbursed.
Who gets reimbursed, the township?
We do,
Okay.
Yeah.
So it goes to the township, and it
yeah,
takes the burden off the taxpayer?
exactly.
Okay.
It says the deputy clerk gets this money,
Yeah, that's what we're talking
not the township.
about. Well, they're paying, what it says is that she's getting paid.
So is this like the equivalent of a bonus over and above her overtime?
Yes.
Oh,
I thought we
Paid
did this
by-
already.
Well, in the last resolution, it included August and November, which the state is not paying for.
So this is a lower amount, but still the same concept.
Yes.
Yeah,
Well, wait a minute.
I don't
So-
agree with the concept.
you're saying that, I thought you said this money would come back to the township?
Yes. No, well, this will not, but her overtime, yes. She's already gotten paid for her overtime. That comes back to the township
How does that come back?
because we'll be reimbursed for all the overtime and our workers.
Where does it say that here?
This is totally separate. I can show you the list of all the things that are reimbursed by the state. Do you have that, Mike? I gave it
But,
to you.
so, let me help me understand. So she got paid overtime during the presidential primary, right?
She did. She worked all through Christmas, yes.
She got a total of like $3,600?
This is to, this is
$3,600?
for all the extra responsibilities that were added to Amy's job.
But I thought we decided last meeting that because she's now an employee, we would keep track of her hours, or you would, somebody would, and then she would get paid, the township would pay her
No, the township.
the hours and overtime.
The state pays for that. And this is, in the last resolution, this is a different resolution, and included August and November, and the state is not paying for August and November.
But she got paid, though.
She did, but she has added responsibility, and she worked all through Christmas. That's not time and a half. That's not considered holiday, because it's only Christmas and New Year's, and I think Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve are considered holidays. So she has to hit 40 hours in order to,
Which is 5 hours a week.
yeah.
She's not getting
But if she's not
And I
working
don't-
over
This is
over
just a
40
number
hours, why
that-
would she get time?
Right, well, so somebody suggested that, wow, she gets time and a half, but she has to reach a certain point. Amy worked the entire Christmas break. She was here just last weekend, wasn't Mike? On Friday and Saturday.
And she didn't get paid for those hours?
I'm going to make sure she gets paid for those
Okay.
hours.
She
What
should
I'm
get
saying,
paid.
Frank, is that her responsibilities are a lot more than they were. With all this new work that she has to do, and she just got a couple more assignments, because we're doing the 9 days of early voting. This is not something that comes out of our budget. This is a number that people around the state have come up with. I didn't just,
Susan,
Hold
so
on.
I thought that you had said at the last meeting that anything that is incurred because of those extra 9 to 10 days are covered by the state.
yes.
And I thought you also mentioned the stipend is too. It is not.
Yes, it is.
So what you're asking here is a stipend of
Yes.
$1,750 that will be reimbursed by the state of
Yes,
Michigan.
that's what that last
On-
sentence says.
on- That's what I thought, but what you're saying now is it's not, I'm hearing two different things as you're talking.
Well,
So,
He's asking me about overtime.
and that's covered by the state?
Yes.
And the
And this
stipend
is-
you're asking is also covered
Yes.
by the state?
Yes. And if it isn't, she doesn't get paid.
Okay.
It's a commitment.
I guess I misunderstood as you were talking. I thought you
Sorry.
said the overtime was, but what you're asking for here is not. That's what I thought you said. That's not what you said. Okay, just wanted to be clear. And then can I make a comment on that? Okay, so I do agree. I think that all the extra time that she had to spend doing this away from her family and taking care of this for our township does deserve a little something extra for it. And the fact that it is going to be reimbursed and is allowed by the state, I think it shows how much we value our employees. So that being said, I do think that it is, if it's allowed by the state, is something that should be considered. I do agree.
I will make a motion to approve the resolution 2024-09 as presented.
I'll second that.
I think that in order to save maybe some grievance coming from the union, I think it needs to be said or stated, like you were saying, that it should be a reimbursement from the state. And
It says it
The
right
resolution
there.
states it.
Yeah.
So if it's not reimbursed by the state, she
She
doesn't get the
doesn't
money,
get it.
Doesn't get it.
Can we put that?
put in the resolution.
Put that in the motion?
It's already in there.
I said as
It's the
presented.
last paragraph. It says, to be reimbursed by the state of Michigan.
What if it's,
So if it's not reimbursed by the state of Michigan, she doesn't get it. That's the way I read it.
Yes,
Is that correct?
yes.
Okay.
Bob put this together.
I'm okay with that. It doesn't cost the township any money. I think the state of Michigan recognizing also that maybe it's an additional responsibility.
Well, also, we found out in December that we're having a February election, so there was a lot of prep and time spent.
Yeah, normally for hourly personnel, they get paid for all the work that they do. So fundamentally, I have a problem with this. But if we're being reimbursed by the state and the state recognizes, I'm okay.
Well, that's
I'm
it
okay
exactly.
with
The
that.
state recognizes it, and so.
I still don't see where it says that.
The very last line of the resolution.
It doesn't say if it doesn't, she won't get paid.
To be
if she-
reimbursed by the state.
But if the state doesn't pay it,
She just doesn't.
I think it should be worded.
But I think what Mike's trying to say is if she's paid overtime by the township, what happens if the state don't reimburse that part?
And she doesn't get.
She doesn't get the money.
She
So
gets
why
her
don't we
over-
make a resolution that if it's not reimbursed, that she pays it back?
Well, she
Would
won't
that
get
work?
paid unless we won't pay it ahead of time.
Well, it says we're reimbursed, which implies that she's paid it.
Can I?
To be
Susan,
reim-
can
I
say
guess so.
something? Or can I go to the monitor? and say
Sure.
something?
Sorry.
This is, we always had to do this for presidential primary. You had to put in all your receipts, and there were certain criteria for what you could get reimbursed on. And overtime was one of them, but like Susan stated, you had to reach the 40 hours. So anytime that she worked above the 40 hours, you'd get time and a half, and then I could submit those hours to the state only for a presidential primary. So it's not for any other election, and I think Susan did state that. And the other thing is that 1750 is something new that they've recognized, and you'll get a check from the state of Michigan. So I realized that Amy already got paid for her overtime. That money would go to the township, but that additional money, when they pay that check, would be allocated to her. Is that what I
We can
understand?
phrase it that way if you want to say.
I mean, it's not uncommon. You can go back and look at previous presidential primaries, and they do reimburse for our election workers' time and overtime and supplies and different things. Only for a presidential primary, though.
We could put to be paid.
I think it's the issue of the
Yeah,
stipend.
if we put to be paid by the state of Michigan, that would correct it.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm good with that.
I'll give you the language, Anne Marie.
I don't agree with the state, but that's a different story.
Any other question? Did we even have did you make a motion?
Yes.
And I
Support by Teresa? Yeah. Any other questions at all? not, can we get a roll call, please? Yes.
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 Motion passes. Susan, thanks.
Thank you all.
Move on to item 7Q. Sad, very sad time. We have a resignation letter from Mike Tremblay. Can I read it, Mike?
Sure.
Very long.
It's short and
Attention,
sweet.
all Bruce Township board members and trustees. So this letter is to formally announce my resignation from Bruce Township Board of Trustees, effective, it'll be June 6, 2024, due to personal reasons. It is with mixed feelings that I announce this resignation at this time. I am proud to have served and thank the citizens of Bruce Township for the opportunity to serve them. I have served the community in a government role for over 15 years as a member of the Planning Commission, with 10 of those as a chairman. I also served as the Planning Commission representative on the Zoning Board of Appeals for over 10 years, and the past 3.5 years as a trustee. I sincerely believe that that this board has left the township in a better place than when we took office 3.5 years ago. I am proud to have been a contributing member to that end. I will make sure to return any and all my equipment, materials, and, but my resignation date is of June 6, 2024. Truly yours, Mike Tremblay, Bruce Township trustee. Very sad, Mike, and you got maybe 3 minutes to change your mind. No chance.
No, I can't change my mind.
At this time, I'll make a motion to go ahead and accept Mike Tremblay's letter of resignation dated May 12, 2024. His resignation will be effective on midnight of June 6, 2024, or it would be midnight of June 5th, or 2024, it would be 12:01 a.m. on June 6th of 2024. Correct, Mike? That way you get to the June 5th PC meeting?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
That'd be my last official meeting.
June 6th, 12:01 a.m.
Doing a last hurrah at the last three.
Thanks again, Mike, for everything you did.
You're welcome.
All you're going to still be doing, because I'll still be calling you. So.
You're welcome.
You can run, but you ain't going to hide. So I'll make that motion. Anybody want to support?
Support.
Support by Susan. Getting all in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries. Thanks, Mike. Anything you want to say?
I'd just say it's been an interesting ride. I would say that most of the time it's been very rewarding for me personally. I never would have got involved with any municipal stuff at all, except one of my neighbors urged me to put my name in the hat for Planning Commission. That was 15 years ago. And I did, and I got accepted. And then less than a year later, I was made chairman of the Planning Commission, which was interesting. But I had a good mentor before me, a guy named Ken Scott. He was just a class act. He's passed away since then, but he was just a super guy. Paul can attest to that. And when I retired at the end of 18, I was looking for something to do. I said, well, why don't I run for office and be a trustee? I thought about being supervisor, and then I said, no, I'm retired. I don't want that. I'll let Mike Philbrook do that, or someone else. But being a trustee, I still felt that you still had some influence over the direction, and I felt that. And one of the unique things is that all five of us, well, it was Lisa Craffey, because we had all gotten on the primary ticket and there was no competition, we were actually able to meet before we took office. And I think that was helpful, because I think that the mannerisms and the conduct of this board exemplifies what a board should look like. And I can't say that for prior boards. There was some infighting going on. And even though we may have some infighting, it's more controlled and more professional, I believe. And I can say I'm proud to have served with these people, and I believe that as a whole, that the township is in a better place than when we took office, because we didn't kick the can down the road. We took the tough issues, made some tough decisions that not everybody was happy with, but the township's in a better place because of it. So I appreciate all you guys' support.
We
My wife
appreciate
says
you.
I'll miss it.
You will.
Yeah.
Well, you've
Good
been
luck to you.
a great mentor to all of us for your experience and your time on as a planning commission member in the ZBA, and I'm still going to use a lot of that to move forward. So, like I said, I'll be calling you.
And Mike, I just want to say I have a lot of respect for you. You're very thorough in what you're doing, and you care, and it really shows.
Thank you.
We are going to miss
Yep,
you.
very thorough. Not going to miss the questions.
When you're a trustee, you don't run for the money. Well, not for any of these positions, really. None of them pay a
You already
lot.
said?
What?
So I'm not going to miss the questions so much, but I am going to miss you.
Try to hold people accountable.
Although they are good questions.
I need a cat, don't I?
Okay. I know a lot of people will be sad, but we'll move on. Item 7R would be to fill the term of the PC member. So this is obviously an election year. We do have our board, currently the treasurer, the clerk, and myself are all running unopposed. We do need now 2 trustees that are going to be up for election in the fall. Teresa's currently sitting in on the vacated position of Lisa Craffey. She's on the ballot. It just so happens we have 2 of the other members that are on the ballot in the audience tonight, and it would be good if we kind of filled that position to fill Mike's vacated spot from now until the November election. I mean, since we got both candidates here, I think that would be a matter if you guys are okay with that, if you wanted to say something else, and we would maybe do a vote.
It's kind of hard to, if you pick one, then you give one, that person gets a leg up. And it doesn't seem fair as they're headed into election.
Well, it's no different than Teresa's in there.
But that's a different story, different time, and you actually gave time for other people to apply. This is brought on so fast. I mean, nobody in the community knows about it.
Well,
They just happen to be here.
they can't apply for the election because its election deadlines are over, so we've only got 2 candidates.
No, I mean to apply for the vacancy, like Therese did, and the other people when we voted on Lisa's position.
We have application. But as I guess, my point being is it doesn't make a difference who we're applying. The election is still the election. The election's still going to decide who's going to be in there.
I know, but you're giving one person or the other a platform.
That would be unethical.
You know, I was thinking, if I may comment, if that's all right, to Dorothy's point, because we do have 2 people, I mean, myself too, I'm sitting here, but that was prior to us even talking about running for office. And to Dorothy's point, if you pick one or the other, it does give one or the other a leg up. And I think if we do like we did when Lisa vacated, if we let the public know that we do have a resignation, let's put it out there, see who's interested. It might even turn out that it's just someone, you know, we may end up selecting someone that just wants to fill the term, obviously, and leave it to the voters, as was pointed out, to vote for the other 3 that are on the ballot. That's my opinion.
Or 4, because you're going to be on the ballot.
Oh, yeah, your name's going to be on
Can't
there.
come off? Oh, my.
Did you know you were going to win and you weren't even going to be here?
My circumstances changed within two weeks. So
If
I
I
did ask Dick Rosenberg if he was interested, and he was not, so that would have solved an issue.
I'd like to offer my services in that position. I'm not running for an election this year. I have, extensive background and experience, 20 years on the Planning Commission, 10 as a trustee. I'm a certified planner. I have, worked with the MDOT to get the light at 34 in Van Dyke. I initiated the limestone program in this community with Gary Schucke. And I've written and gotten grants for over $140,000 with SEMCOG and the Four Corner Foundation to help the community. And I could fill right in without any kind of learning curve. And whoever gets elected then in the fall would be able to step in and take that position. I think that's fair to all the candidates out there, that you do something of that nature. rather than favor one candidate over the other, because as the incumbents know, incumbents get favored at a little more support than the new people trying to come in. So I would just offer that up to the board. I'm willing to step in for a few months to help them out.
If I may be frank, Paul, and I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but you had a conversation with me and it got argumentative, and you had one conversation with Mike and it was argumentative. You had two conversations and they were both argumentative.
I didn't argue with Mike. Were there?
I was getting he was getting a little bit loud over there.
It's like when you originally came on board, Mike, you believed everything Susan Brockman told you, and 99% of it is not true, all right?
So how do you know how I
You have
felt?
a prejudice right from the start,
Paul,
all right?
the reason why you and I don't get along is because you were calling my personal,
Candidate over another, which is unethical.
you were calling my personal friends to try to turn them against me. And I had calls from my personal friends like, who is this guy? I know I don't have no bad blood with you, Paul, but your whole personality, I'm sorry, is just, it's not the right person for the job. We've changed this board and we don't want to argue and we don't want to have a one-sided opinion.
Clerk and treasurer are gone.
We appreciate you, Willinda, and your offering to step up and all your accomplishments. And how long were you on the Planning Commission?
20 years, Mike.
And those are some nice accomplishments, and I'm hoping you got those feathers in your cap, and anybody that's here for 20 years should have those accomplishments.
I don't know where you're saying I had an argument with Mike. I did not.
It was
We had a
heated.
Discussion on where that was shown. And you're not willing to enforce the township ordinances. And that's-
You've been going on for the same light that's been going out there for 3.5 years now. It was addressed by the homeowners, it was addressed by the neighboring communities, and it was resolved, but you're still not happy because it's not up to your expectations of what you would like to see, but nobody else has
I am
complained
passionate
about it.
keeping the township,
Listen, we got a meeting going on.
not becoming Sterling.
Thanks, Paul.
But his point, he makes a good point. He has the background, the experience.
Doesn't
It's just
matter.
short term,
Doesn't
and
matter.
it would save us.
Well, he
from
can, I have an opportunity to go ahead and apply just like everybody else.
Do we have to do the selection tonight then? Is
No, we can wait for applications then, and we'll just do it at that. We'll give everybody the free opportunity to go ahead and do it that way.
Why don't you recluse yourself for prejudice?
Paul, I mean, I got my opinion just like everybody else does. I'm not trying to be prejudiced. I'm trying to do what's best on behalf of the whole board. I just seen you got in two arguments kind of tonight alone, and you're still arguing the same thing with the lighting, and your whole thing with Sheena's is not even based on very good factual information. So anyways, let's move on. So we'll table this, we'll get applications. Anybody in the audience or anybody that's out there watching, please come in and fill out an application to fill the vacated position of trustee Mike Tremblay from when you're appointed till the November election. So
So should we do that for the PC too, and get applications for that?
we have a file with applications, and that was the purpose of doing it. Not every time we need a position, we have applications on file.
Okay,
I mean, that was
okay,
that's
so.
the whole.
So you're gonna table that too, though, is my point? So you know who we're gonna appoint, maybe they can do both.
You don't
I
have
just
to,
hate-
you don't have to do the planning commission today, because I'm going to be at one more meeting.
That was my,
You don't have to do the trustee position either, because I think you have 45 days, right?
they do,
Yep.
from the 6th.
From the 6th.
Okay, let's get on the agenda. Let's try to get on the agenda for our June meeting, though. 30 days. No reason why we can't. If that's the case, then we'll take off. Are we going to do this, the PC appointment? Are we going to wait on that, too?
We just said
Said
we're,
wait on.
You don't have to do it.
Said wait on.
You don't have to do it today.
So then that leaves, basically, we're to communications, and Trish, you want to start us off?
I don't really have anything at this point.
I have communications. I lost them.
Want me to go?
Go ahead, Frank.
We're going to have a cemetery day this coming Saturday, May 18th, from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. over at the McCafferty Cemetery. Anybody interested, give me a call, let me know. But we'll be out there at 9 a.m. Also, there's a blood drive here at the Township on Thursday, June 6th, between 9 and 3. You can go online to make that appointment, or go to our Facebook page under events and make an appointment there, or call me and I can make the appointment for you. That's all I got. Mike, thank you very much for everything. Good luck in your future endeavors, and we're going to miss you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I miss you. I'll come back and visit.
I will. I have a lot of friends in the area. Yeah, just thanks Bruce Township for letting me have fun on this board for 3.5 years, and thanks the prior board for putting me on the planning commission. It was a great learning opportunity. I think Mike already talked to somebody, so
Blaylock had applied before, and he also applied for the trustee position, and I think we all know he came up and did his interview with Therese, getting the position at the time.
so while I served, maybe not everybody agreed with all my decisions, but I always made my decisions on what I felt was best for the township. That was it.
Thanks, Mike. Are you done?
Yep.
Susan, you gonna go?
Chief's turn.
Oh, Chief, woke enough tonight already?
I did. Thanks,
Tell the
Blake.
guys to go to
Yeah.
bed, it's 8 o'clock. They're probably watching. I can see,
Still got light.
I can see Alfonso looking at the TV right now.
He could be. I don't know where the camera is.
I'll go,
Why don't you
I
wave
don't
to
have
him?
much. So limestone was accepted as we had agreed on. Macomb County did accept it. We got that, we have sent in our yearly subscription of $225 to the transportation, the TIA, which is that company that you see the billboards now that are in, we used to have the TIS, and it was the same subscription price, as around $225 a month, but the TIS never really did anything for us. The TAA now is, I'm sure you've seen the billboards that are up there across, between 34 and 33 Mile Road. Bob, put your phone down, Santilli was up there. They do a lot of other stuff in our communities, which our other company never really did much for us. For $225, we're doing that. They did things like the Ghost Rider, they do the traffic counts and the billboards. Just wanted to let you guys know that. We got, they get their funding from Act 51, so that's about all I got. Anything else? Nobody? That's it, then make a motion to adjourn.
Support.
By Giorgio, all in favor?
Hi.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.